Tennessee's apparel deal with Nike is about to be up, so Tennessee will check out all options, with Adidas expected to be the main challenger here. Whatever the biggest bid, Nike will eventually get the opportunity to match or beat it, so they're going to have a right of first refusal kind of a thing. But some folks are up in arms because they're looking at this saying Nike helps with recruiting. Nike designs better uniforms. One, Tennessee now designs their own uniforms, so that's out. Does it matter to recruits in this day and age when you can pay them that you're a Nike school or an Adidas school? Would you rather have the Nike money and use that to buy? Would you rather the Adidas money, if they pay you more, to buy players as opposed to, well, we got Nike shoes? Do you think it matters as much as it did, say, 10 years ago when Tennessee went to Nike?
I don't. What matters is how much money you get. That's what matters. And who's to say that if Tennessee goes back to Adidas, that a player might not have an NIL deal with Nike? What stops that?
Paige Beckers at UConn. Paige Beckers at UConn had her own Nike shoe come out, but she had to wear Nike at one side compared to what the UConn women's basketball sponsored on the other. It's happened before, and it's going to continue to happen.
And you may recruit a player who's already got a shoe deal.
That's right.
Coming out of high school now.
Yeah.
So I do not think it makes much difference other than how much money you get. And I also would try not to sign a long-term deal like you did TV with the SEC, right?
Yeah.
So renegotiate that in 7 years.
20 or 30 years ago, the shoe companies drove so much of college sports,
Yes.
especially the basketball recruiting. Right?
Kansas and the Hammer.
Yeah. Thoughts on this being a big deal now?
I don't know about you guys because you guys have recruited so much longer, but I've heard so many stories from so many VFLs and former Vols that would say, I would be at a high school and I'd be playing and I would turn and look and all I would see is Philip Fulmer in that big orange 3-stripe jacket, and I'd see all the other coaches filter out because when Phil showed up with that orange on and those 3 stripes, they knew Adidas money was here, and that was a big deal. I don't think that matters anymore. I don't think anybody cares what the logo looks like anymore. And frankly, if you're a Tennessee fan, and look, I know we could talk about quality of golf polos, or I don't know what gear you guys wear. I personally believe that I think Nike makes a superior product in some categories. But if you're a Tennessee fan and it's all about revenue, I don't care if they're in potato sacks with a Puma logo on the side. If they bid the most money and it helps you when it comes to putting the best roster in turn to win championships, as you mentioned a couple segments ago, do it. Bring back
the old sports ball.
Umbro, no fear. I don't care what they're geared in. And I get it. Some people like because they have to look sharp and look great. Most money, highest bidder. Let the bidding begin.
Wasn't Sports Bell before Adidas?
Yeah.
It was the local sports bell, I believe. Yeah, Go ahead.
I don't think it matters. Like you said, in a different
And you
era.
cover recruiting.
Yeah, in football, this has never been a huge deal. In basketball, that was the main thing. And it was a huge advantage 10, 12 years ago to be a Nike school affiliated with Nike AAU programs and things like that. Now it's just not a factor. So I think you're going for the most money, and now that money is going to help you pay revenue sharing. It's going to help you pay straight up NIL deals if it comes to that point where you can make them employees. So everyone's worried about getting as much money as possible. It makes sense to let this be a completely open bidding war.
Yeah, and the other thing, the football side of it, everybody was like, oh, those Nike uniforms are what get the recruits on campus. It's the Nike uniforms. Again, you're designing your own uniforms. You're just handing it over to Nike or Adidas to produce the thing.
I was going to say, as long as I'm not agreeing to anything involving forcing Adidas 3 stripes on my uniforms, I wouldn't care. If you're doing that, I don't.
Well,
really
and they
want to
didn't do
lean
it last time, so I would
Yeah.
imagine Tennessee wouldn't go down that. Although they did talk them into that one year where they had the gigantic stripe down the side of the pants that just looked silly.
But no,
yeah, that's
but-
right. Just
but-
stay away from the uniforms.
Yeah.
Adidas.
So right now, like the Nike deal's giving them like roughly $1 million a year. I think it's not a very lucrative deal. Your new deal, Tennessee's a top 10 sales school. I mean, you can make a lot more money.
And the Nike deal wasn't as lucrative as people expected when they signed it in the first place. Everyone was looking at Michigan, I believe, and North Carolina had huge deals, and Tennessee's was not as big. And, I think the promise was, well, we're going to put more of your stuff out there merchandise-wise nationally. So that's the trade-off. I know they've done that with some pro franchises. I don't know that you ever got the bounce from it. Maybe you did. You're up there every year in terms of sales, so maybe you did.
I'll give credit. Will's offset right now, but when we chatted about this during our show this week, he has it on very good authority that Nike has not made Tennessee a priority like they have other schools. And I think that still means something now these days. I think being able to, you see what they've done with Florida and some of those other big schools out there. If you want to go and be able to do some special jerseys or do maybe color outside the lines a little bit, and Nike's got strict laws or maybe won't be as lenient on assisting you with those, Who isn't to say Adidas comes in, treat you like your priority number one while giving you the largest paycheck?
I'll give you an example. Tennessee's not a Jordan brand school. That's
Right.
that's something that other schools have that advantage. Tennessee doesn't have that. If I don't feel if I'm a Nike school and I'm being treated that way, that's a different story. But Tennessee's not gotten that.
But is that really an advantage?
I mean,
we just
no,
talked about it.
not really.
Yeah, but
It's a
you're
status
not.
symbol.
Yeah, you're not the highest status symbol.
Yeah.
Correct.